Through the first quarter of 2023, and there's a ton of news out there, and what that creates is a whole lot of questions like what's going on with these banks, what's going on with interest rates being where they are, does it make sense for me to buy or should I wait? Let's get into it. So what are the two biggest things that have been affecting our market? Well, one, interest rates, and two, inventory. That's the same today as it was this time last year. Let's talk about inventory and activity. So in Virginia Association of Realtors just came out with some numbers that said that overall activity is down about 20%. Now, not a huge surprise. It tells us that inventory is much lower this year than it was last year. Inventory is low, buyer demand is high. That's still what's driving our market. When we look at what homes were selling for in February of last year versus what they're selling for in February of 2023, we're still seeing an increase. In the whole state of Virginia, what we saw was about 5.7% increase from 2022 to 2023. When I look at some local counties around us here, I'm seeing almost a 6.7% increase. That has to go into the decision on whether or not it makes sense to buy now or buy when rates go down. I created a scenario, and I'm going to try to keep these numbers as simple as possible. Let's look at two different scenarios. At a $500,000 purchase price, let's say that interest rate is around 6%. At that, the principal and interest payment is just under $3,000. If we look forward and say, well, why wouldn't I just wait and let's hope that interest rates a year from now are 1% lower at 5%. Is that a possibility? Yeah, that's a real possibility. The issue is, if we see a 5 or a 6 or a 7% increase in that home price, then even at 5%, that $500,000 house a year from now is selling at $525,000. But that sales price not only is going to affect the monthly payment, but that's going to affect what your equity situation is like in that house from day one all the way until the day when you sell. At $525,000 and a 5% interest rate, that principal and interest payment is just over $2,800. And so the difference between those two comes to about $180. Over the course of that 1 year, you would have saved around $2,000. That $3,000 monthly payment doesn't have to be your payment forever. What you buy the house for is always going to be the number that you start with. Instead of waiting and buying the house at a $525,000 number, if you buy that $500,000 house at 6%, pay that $3,000 principal and interest payment, and then refinance in a year, that payment goes down to $2,684, which is a massive savings from your $3,000, but it's even lower than if you bought a year later $525,000 at that lower 5% interest rate. What does this do for your long-term equity? If you own the home for 5 more years after that refinance, so a total of 6 years, in that 5 years, you're going to have saved over $8,000 from the scenario where you waited a year, bought at $525,000 at that lower interest rate. That $8,000 is huge, but we have to add that to the $25,000 less that you paid for the house a year ago. And so you're already looking at over a $30,000 difference. When you look at the fact that you're well over $30,000 positive based on these two scenarios that we looked at, and you have a lender that's willing to do that refinance at no cost when rates are lower and you can reduce that payment, it even increases that number. Is a refinance going to cost you some money? Sure, there are some costs associated with it. But considering the environment that we're in, we wanted to make this as easy as possible for all of our clients. And so we've created a program and we've partnered with 2 of the very best lenders in all of Virginia to help with this. And our lenders not only work in Virginia, but all over the country. The way that this works is if you buy now at a higher interest rate, and then sometime 6 months, 12 months, 18 months down the road, interest rates are lower and it makes sense to refinance, our lenders will do this for our clients with no lender fees. If this type of information is helpful, if you need someone that will help you quiet the noise and actually tell you how the current market applies to your situation, then hit that subscribe button, hit the bell down below. We want to be here for you.